Hello YouTube fans, thrill seekers and speed maniacs. Welcome back to the channel. Today we got another learn to ride video. And this one stars a kid I've known for some time. He is finally at an age where he's ready to pick up a motorcycle, so he wanted to get some basic instructions on how to ride. So I started him off on my 2021 Yamaha R1. So what we'll see in the video is how fast somebody can progress, never being on a bike before, can get used to the mechanics and controls and feel comfortable. Not ready to be on the road quite yet, but at least comfortable being on a bike, right? Learning how to ride the motorcycle, lean the motorcycle, accelerate, decelerate, change gears, and so on. So we'll take a look how fast he progressed. This is similar to other students that I've had of different ages. Some have been on bikes before, other ones have never been on bikes before. So you'll see how easy it is to learn to ride if you get the right foundations in place. So without further ado, let's jump into the video and see how we do it. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is me giving him a rundown on the controls of the bike, all the important things like the clutch, the shifter, explaining how the shifter engages the motor and pulls the bike. That's kind of the basics of how clutch works. Then we're going to spin around, take a look at the other side of the bike so you can see the rear brake and the front brake, explaining when to use the rear brake. That's typically done at slower speeds when you're coming to a light or if you're on a hill. That way you don't have to have both brakes engaged, but explain the concepts there. From there we came back. I had him jump on the bike and get a feel for it, right? So this is his first time sitting on a motorcycle, so I'm just kind of giving him a rundown. We flip things on. Let him feel the weight. That's an important piece. I'm also explaining that it is up to his height, right? You can see that he's mostly flat-footed. That's a good thing. Of course, you can have a bike that sits taller and you'll be on tippy toes, and you can learn that way as well. It's just not recommended, simply because when you lean the bike over, and by the time you get to a flat-footed stance, if the bike is already past a certain point in center of gravity, it's going to feel a lot heavier and more chances of you dumping the bike when you're standing mostly. So just kind of giving him an idea that here is what the position is like, again, letting him get adjusted to the seating position and so on. And what we did next is give a nice close-up of the clutch. Again, the most important piece here is going to be around the clutch work and explaining how you're going to utilize that. Okay, if we kind of skip further through the video, I had him jump on a motorcycle, and I do this with every student the first time that they're getting on, is I want them to get a feel for the seating position, meaning that have them kick up both of their legs, put them on to the controls, left foot on the shifter, right foot on the rear brake, just pretty much in the foot pegs, and letting them sit on the bike and feel what that position is going to look like. Again, what we're doing is establishing the mechanics and the comfort for the controls. I'm also checking to make sure that all the controls are adjusted to the person accordingly. And from the looks of it, his wrists were fairly straight. They were not bent under extreme angles, which is good. It's not cutting off your circulation. And that's really what we're going after here, is just, again, let the person feel what it's going to be like to sit on the bike. The next step, what we're going to do is I'm going to get on the bike. I'm going to show him exactly the drills that we're going to be executing next, which is getting on the bike. I'm going to adjust the setting. I'm going to drop down the power. So on the Yamaha R1, it's called B mode. B mode, what it does is reduces the power on the bike. It also reduces the sensitivity on the throttle, which is what you want. Again, if this was a 600cc bike, you have nothing to worry about. Typically when I start somebody off on a bigger bike, and again, it doesn't matter if you're starting on a 1000cc bike, 300cc bike, 600cc bike, as long as you have the right approach and the foundation. So, but here what I'm doing is adjusting the settings and showing him how that drill is going to work, explaining very clearly how the clutch operates. Right here I am showing him that when I release the clutch, meaning that I'm gauging it to the engine, the bike begins to pull. And this is the primary drill here, is all we're doing is letting go of the clutch, the bike starts to pull. Once you start rolling a little bit, immediately press the clutch again, disconnect it from the motor, hit the brake and stop. And that's the drill that you're going to do as your foundational step over and over and over again until you're comfortable with it. Make sure you take breaks in between. Your hands are going to get tired. You'll see how many times I'm going to have him restart, simply to get him to execute this drill without killing his forearms. So here I am. I'm going to line up the bike. I'm going to let him jump on, and we're going to have him see how he's going to run through his drill on his own. Right, so here we have him on the bike for the first time on his own, in the safety gear, of course. And I'm going to go ahead and let him kick off the drill. I'm going to kick up the kickstand, and he's going to go ahead and begin to release the clutch as he rolls. And here I'm telling him, just make sure you walk the bike. So you're going to catch in just a second that on the first roll, when he releases the clutch for the first time with the bike running, he is going to dump it, meaning that he released it way too fast and the bike didn't get a chance to roll yet, and he's going to stall it out. Notice what happens. Okay, so right now he's shifting into first gear. Okay, he's straightening out, he's getting ready to go, and he's going to go ahead and begin to release the clutch. I'm telling him here, keep your hand off the accelerator, just keep it absolutely straight, and here he goes. And he releases way too fast, dumps the clutch, stalls out the bike. Okay, the bike will shut off. And notice that he caught his weight quite easily, simply because this bike is perfect for his height. If he was a shorter rider, the bike would have leaned quite a bit. I see a lot of beginner riders tip over the bike that way, and I'm getting it scratched. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and put it back into neutral. I'm going to start it back up, and we're going to have him do this again. So pop it into first gear. Okay, and then we're going to have him release the clutch a lot slower this time to make sure that he's feeling it. There he goes. You see how the bike is beginning to pull itself? Yep, and he's going to simply just walk the bike. Okay, as soon as you start going too fast, I'm going to have him depress the clutch again and hit the brake. And that's exactly the drill that you typically do when you're first starting out. The more, the better. Okay, because clutch work is the most important foundational piece that you can learn. So here it goes again, releasing the clutch much better this time. I'm having him do the stops much earlier, meaning that I don't want him rolling too fast, because I want him to get that feel for the clutch where it engages. Here we go again, and we're going to continue doing this all the way through until we'll reach the end of the parking lot. From there, I'm going to go ahead and have him set up for a turn, meaning that instead of turning the bike around for him, I want him to learn to get the bike turned by himself. I might have said in other videos that you want to make sure you practice taking turns in both directions, right and left, when you're first starting out, because that's also going to play a factor when you start riding the bike and leaning it. You don't only want to feel comfortable turning to one side. Okay, want to make sure you practice both. So here we are, we're beginning to turn around, line up for the next run, and the same drill. Okay, just making sure that he's focusing, he's got this figured out. Okay, I'm not allowing him to roll for too long, because again, I want him to focus on clutch work. And we're going to continue to do that, paying close attention to his controls, how he's doing. That's very important. I'm going to turn back around and line up for another run. But before we do that, want to make sure that he takes a quick break, check in and see how comfortable he is, and we're going to restart. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and switch over to the camera view and see up close how he was maneuvering the bike.
Okay, let's work that clutch. Shut her off. Okay, now take a breath, relax. Alright, we're working on the clutch work. So all you want to do right now as you're starting out is feel on the engagement of the clutch, that point, right? You're going to let the bike roll, you're going to go ahead and disengage the clutch, and then you're going to bring it to a stop. And you're going to want to do that back and forth until you establish that muscle memory. You figure out where your clutch is engaging at. You're letting all the other passive stuff around you, like the throttle, gear changes, you're throwing it out of your mind because that's not important right now. The most important piece is clutch work. Even when you first start riding, the important piece is clutch work. This is why you see a lot of beginners stall out at a light, because they feel the pressure, they end up dumping the clutch, and then they get flustered, like, oh crap, what do I do? So this is establishing those basics. Riding a 600 or 1000cc bike, doesn't matter at all. This is all about the clutch work, okay? Making sure that you're riding and you're getting comfortable with the controls of the bike, okay? You can get yourself into trouble as fast on a 600cc as you can on a 1000cc bike. Okay, number one thing is getting a feel for the motorcycle and the controls. So right now, I want to make sure he's got the controls down. I just told him a second ago that we're going to start working on letting the bike roll, working on the leans, working on the turns. There we go. I think he's figuring out the clutch quite well right now. But right now, this is an important time to make sure you didn't go too fast. We'll have him do a little bit more stops before he gets too comfortable. I think he's kind of getting it. Okay, that's good that he's stopping. Again, working on the clutch. Stops and goes, stops and goes. That's what you want to work on. This is slow speeds too. When you're taking your course riding, what do they test you on? They test you on the parking lot. They're testing your control of the bike at slow speeds. Because when you get rolling fast, it's easier. The bike balances itself out. So this is core right here. This is very important. Okay. A few more passes, we're gonna have them take a break. Because again, when you're first starting out, you don't notice it, but your arms begin to cramp up quite quickly. You get tired. Your muscles are not ready for this yet. So I'm gonna have him do a few passes, get a feel for the bike. He's getting a feel for the weight of the bike. But you gotta take breaks too. That's important. It lets your mind cool off. It lets your mind remember where you're at. Is getting a feel for the pegs. So that's good. That's good. He's got it. He's getting it. There you go. Excellent. Let's see if we can test him to take a left turn. Look at that. See, this is all working in the first gear with the clutch work. Again, you're not changing gears yet. There's no need for that. This is all done in first gear. And then when he's ready for that, when he's good, we'll have him start engaging on the gas, but we're not there yet. Good work, good work. Okay, I'm gonna give him one more pass and we're gonna bring him back. And I'm gonna next pass, we're gonna have him use the accelerator. So you can get a feel for how it accelerates. And again, this bike right now is dialed way back. It's in D mode. The power has been reduced to level 4. This is a 2021 R1. So you're able to adjust the throttle response and power delivery separately. Alright, he's off on a longer ride now. We just took a quick break and gave him instruction to go ahead and let the bike pull him, take longer rides in this parking lot. Again, this is why it's nice to have longer parking lots like this with zero traffic, is that you can ride without any worry of somebody getting in your way. But I told him, when you do your first pass, continue to practice your stoppies and goes. Let the bike pull you. Okay, see, he kind of almost stalled out there. It's important that he gets a feel for that. Also on the slopes, up slopes, down slopes. So he's going to practice this real quick. And then once he's got it down, once he got this under control, we're going to go ahead and restart. Okay, and I told him that after he does a few passes, I'm going to go ahead and give him just a little bit of an accelerator so he can get a feel for it. Now again, on this bike right now, this allows me to dial in the power delivery. So throttle response is dialed down and the power delivery is dumbed down. So it's like a 600cc literally right now, not a 1000cc bike that everybody's afraid of. So right now, he's riding. Working on balancing and the turning. I told him make sure you lean both ways. Now he's giving gas, you can hear it. Alright, so you can feel how it's delivering the power to the bike, which is important. But again, it's important to control yourself. Don't get too excited. The basics. So right now he's getting a feel for the bike. Now that he's going faster, he's going to need to learn to apply more brake. he's just kind of zooming by. That's all right. That's another thing that new beginners don't get a feel for yet, right? How much the bike behaves, how differently it behaves under more load in terms of leaning and in terms of braking. All right. So far, so good. All right. Had a little chat. He took a break. So again, he's getting comfortable with it, feeling it out. Told him open right now, he can go ahead and ride it, get a feel for the throttle a little bit more, and work on a little bit more leans, turns. So we're progressing really quickly. It is important to make sure that you still come back to the basics of throttle control. Throttle control, clutch control, number one. So that's what we're doing right now. Again, having a nice open lot like this helps a ton, so you don't have to stress about other people. That's what the stuff that distracts you ends up getting in trouble. But right now it's pretty good. So we'll let him do more laps. I told him that once this is done, we'll switch over to changing gears just to get a feel for that as well. But working on the turns, you can see he's leaning in. Leaning in, got some good speed. Speed is important to work on in an open lot, because when you get out in the road, you're going to notice it's going to lean very differently at different speeds, so you're going to want to work on that. There you go. Doing good. Alright, just instructed him to go ahead and work on shifting up. So he's going to go ahead and pop it into second gear on this pass. Looks like he's looking for the shifter. There we go. Accelerate. Just have to remember to pop it back into first. There she goes. Good. Alright, here he goes again. Took a quick break. I'm going to go ahead and have him work on stoppies, goies, and we're going to get him onto the road, quote unquote. Pretty much the simulated road in the parking lot. Good practice of being on a thinner space so you don't have a giant parking lot in front of you when you're riding on the road. So it's a good way to do it. Some schools have little roads like this with stop signs and whatnot. Some malls have that. Different locations where you're able to practice being in a smaller space in different formats, so you can practice your basics. So see how you came to a stop. Good practice. Thinner area. Again, you don't have a giant lot to work with, so you got to lean in just right. You got to go slower. There's lots. He popped his leg out. We don't want to do that. That's another thing I'm going to let him know. That when you're taking turns in the road, in the parking lot it's one thing, you're going slow, but on the road you don't want to stick your leg out. That's just bad practice, but we'll cover that. So that's really about it. Just talk to him to see how comfortable he is. He's doing great. Feels like it's natural. And again, if you go too fast on this, you will get into the situations where the bike runs out of your control. It goes too fast, you slam the throttle, and you lose control of the bike. This is why you want to start out with the slow pace stuff, where you're going slow, you're getting a feel for the weight of the bike, and more importantly, again, the clutch control. So this is why we're doing this. Start slow, progressively increase the speed, work on turns, work on the leaning, changing gears, all that stuff. But foundationally, you want to make sure you got the clutch down. So a lot of people ask, what do you do from there? Should you take a class? Should you take a course? Or do you want to just go get a permit and start riding with a buddy? You could do it either way, honestly. If you go through the school, the benefits of going through the school, you know, I'm a fan. I didn't go through school myself. My wife did. The benefit of the school is that they give you a small cc, low cc bike to play with, right? The little bikes are a lot easier to control. That's one. If you dump it, it's their bike, no problem. That's nothing that you have to worry about. And then the other part is when they have you do the road test, right? Because at the end of the class, they technically give you the license. The benefit there is that it's a lot easier to control the little bikes that they have than a much bigger bike, right? 600cc, 1000cc. If it's a cruiser, you get all the way up to like 2000 cc's and so on. So it's a lot easier to pass those tests on a tiny little bike that they give you there than on your own motorcycle. It's hitting the gas there. I can hear that. So that's the benefit of going through the class. The other additional benefits of the classes is they will teach you other things like running over a log, right? It's the stuff that you don't usually think about, but that's something you want to practice. Because there will be times that you'll run on the road and there's going to be a branch in front of you. What do? Right? You will want to practice for those things, and they give you a chance to practice that on the road. So that's the benefit of the class. Can you get away with it with your riding with a buddy? By all means. You just have to make sure you start out slow, and the friend that you're riding with is not some goofball that's going to push you to your limits. It's going to end up getting into an accident. You want somebody that's responsible, that's been around, somebody that's going to be hanging out behind you, making sure you're safe. Let's check in.
So this is where the video wraps up. We did a few more short clips of flybys and took a few photos, got his feedback, I gave him some more tips, and we wrapped up for the day. And the whole process took us approximately an hour, hour and a half. That's usually how the first session goes. Follow-up sessions, you're just simply improving your skills before you get out on the road. When you do hit the road, if you can, go out with a buddy, and go out when it's the slowest. Okay, so locally here, Sunday mornings are the slowest time of the week, simply because Fridays and Saturdays everybody had their fun, and folks are getting ready for Monday morning work week. So that's when I go out if I want to have a nice quiet ride. Never take the highways, take the back roads that you're familiar with. Go out when it's good weather. Don't go out when it was raining or just stopped raining or anything like that. The surface is going to be a little bit slick. But that's really about it. Looking forward to posting more videos. I'll be including some tips for safer riding, so look out for those, and a lot more content coming down the line. Got a lot of trips planned this summer, so looking forward to posting that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to see more content like this. See you guys.